Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode on X4, and today I'm going to be discussing the new 5.0 beta, the public beta that has been released by Egosoft a couple of days ago, and I have managed to get my hands on it already. And yeah, some of the changes are much needed and very welcomed indeed, but there are some things that I wanted to share with you, some of the newer ship designs and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into too much detail with regards to some of the things so I don't spoil it for you, because there are some things that, you know, it'll be nice to see as a new player going into it. But if you've got the question of whether or not you should be getting back into X4 or whether or not 5.0 is going to improve the game, then hopefully this video will answer that. And as typical for Egosoft, the larger content, the 5.0, the 4.0, the 3.0, delivers each and every time. And as I said, 5.0 does not fail in delivering. First of all, let's talk about some of the new features that they've put into it, and I'll show a couple of them off in a moment, but we're on a slightly different game to show off something else. So the new features are scrap recycling. They brought in scrap recycling so you can tow ships, recycle them and get some resources. Quite handy if you're Terran to get hull parts and claytronics. Again, I'll go into that in a little bit more detail shortly. The next feature is new Parony capital ship designs, and that's exactly what I'm in here. This is a new large ship design, the Odysseus I think it is, and it looks phenomenal. There's another one pulling in alongside me there. That's one of the newer designs, and I've just pulled up to the like shipyard to show off what new designs there are. But just appreciate that that looks a lot more menacing and more like a ship than they ever have done. I actually consider wanting these ships now. I've always avoided most of their ships, but this looks good. And the two front cannons makes it look mean. But let's have a gander at what the other ones that they've got. Let's go ahead and jump into buy ships. Right, so let's start with the large. So the Odysseus E is the one we've just looked at. They still have the original there, the Odysseus Sentinel. And there isn't major changes. It does hold mostly the same weapons. I believe it holds mostly the same turrets as well. So 3 large and 6 mediums. Let's have a look. 3 large and 6 mediums. So there's nothing in terms of extra weaponry. It just looks better. Far, far better. There is slightly better hull on it as well, so there are some slight changes between the two, but they look better. They've also got the Sophonois, I think that's how you say it, gas and mineral, so your miners. They've also got the E versions as well, and the Helios Freighter E version as well. But just have a reminder, these were the original gas and mineral ships. Again, I was never greatly fond of them. However, these look phenomenal. 10 times better. They look bigger. They are bigger. They look better. They look. You can see straight away what they're designed to do. The mineral ship, very similar, but you know, a bit sleeker. They just look so much better. If you remember, that's the Helios, the standard Helios design. Clunky. Small to this. It is touching a little bit, I feel, on the Terran design with the little slots of stuff in there, but it is Paranid, and you can tell it's a Paranid ship. Just looks so much better. Even the engine systems look better in it, and it looks sleeker. It almost looks like a private yacht or something. That's your large ships, and obviously we've got the Odysseus there, which we've had a look at. I just love this. These look so much better. They look like weapon platforms now. 10 times better. The XL ships. So we've got 2 new XL ships. We've got the Atlas and the Zeus. The original Atlas was this big round thing. Nothing special. And the Zeus Sentinel was the big round thing with some weird ass thing underneath it. I mean, this is probably something you'd expect to be seen in the sky and somebody saying there's a UFO flying overhead. Well, let's have a look at the originals, the new ones. Miles better. Longer, sleeker, Looks more formidable. You can see the interior workings there. You got your landing platforms. Not a major like overhaul of it. It's just it looks better. The break in the armor pieces, where you've got these internal bits here, make it look so much better. But the creme de la creme is the Zeus. That looks better. It looks like it's supposed to be something. It looks like it's supposed to do something. It's obviously got like all like sensor stuff on it. It looks a part of the ship now instead of just stuck on the bottom. It looks like it's facing the right way instead of going backwards. Again, it's still got a similar shape, but it just, with a break in the armor pieces here again, and this sleek bridge section here, it looks much, much more formidable. A better design. And I do like how the engines look on them as well now. With these little like flare pieces on the outside. Massive improvement on the Pioneer ships overall. Now, there may be a couple of others, but I think that's all of them. If I'm wrong, I apologise, because there are a couple of changes with the factions. Obviously, 2 factions to each side. There may be an additional one on the other side, but I think the general design overall... Oh, it's Pyramid anyway, so yeah, it'll be just these ones here. Just looks absolutely phenomenal. So that's the new ship design. So you can see there what a fully armed ship looks like. As I've shown you there. Just looks incredible. Obviously, don't forget the color schemes can be slightly changed if you are using a different color scheme. But these engines here with that little wrap rounds looks brilliant. You can just see them in the distance. They look better, bigger, bolder. Don't fuck with us style. I like it. Okay, next on the list is the personal office on their HQ. So let's go and have a visit of the HQ. Teleport to the HQ. And this is awesome. I really like this.
System. Grand exchange.
So we've now got our own personal office. Let's have a little travel too. You come into it, you get this nice little layout here. Someone beeping at me. There is 2 teleports, which I'm not quite sure why it's got 2 teleports, but it does. You got like a little seating area, little consoles, more seating area. Then you come down into here and look at this. How amazing is this? A little random globe. And now I'll show you my other save that this actually is a desk that I'll have your trophies on that you've got from your gameplay. It just looks awesome. And if you jump into here, it should come up with... It doesn't come up with... It is broken. Bear in mind, this is a beta. So we definitely need to report that. Okay, let's try that again. But before we jump onto the seat, I'll show you these trophies that you get. So these are the trophies you get whilst you're in game. I got a couple of them here on my current play. And then when you jump into the seat, you should get your basically your overview of your galaxy. And you can do whatever you need to do. And then when you jump out, you get your menu as well. So you can upgrade, repair docked ships, transfer wares, do your usual, buy ships if you can. And you can go to ship as well. You can jump into any of the ships from wherever you are, and obviously get up and move around freely. Now, it looks like they are all the same. This is obviously on another save, but it is still the same command deck. Best bit about it is the view is pretty awesome. You get to see a view of the station, which is pretty cool. I like that. So that's one of the other additions to it. The next thing we have, which isn't in-game, but is still certainly something worth mentioning, is the new support for the AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution FSR. So if you're an AMD user, that is good news for you guys. So yeah, hopefully that'll make a major improvement in terms of...
You will suffer the consequences.
Gameplay.
This is Sectors.
Okay, yep. Quiet. Okay, so let's have a little mention of a few things as well that's worth mentioning. The first one is, and I'm not going to show this off because I don't want to spoil it for you when you actually do use it yourself, is there are special NPCs offering new mission chains. What I will say is you'll notice there are additional icons on the map. Take heed of that and go and search for them and enjoy what they do. Next thing is you can change the equipment of multiple ships. So say I now want to change this ship here, and this ship here. We'll just pick these two for now. And I go, you can't do that because you've only got a small medium, so let's go ahead and jump over to a large, if I remember which one it is. It's this one. You'll notice now, you get two choices. Look at that. You can switch between the two. Obviously, they're both the same ship, so you can't see the changes, but you can now select multiple ships, or you can select both. And you can do them both at the same time. Really useful. And that's actually probably the best thing ever, because I have tried upgrading or repairing multiple ships. Like those who have followed the followed the series, I had a lot of damaged ships on board this station, which I wanted to repair them all at once, and I had to go in and do each one individually. Now you don't have to. Now you can do them all at once, which is exactly what we wanted. There are various other things they have added as well. The information about multiple production methods that is now added into the encyclopedia, so you can have a read about that. Possibility to change equipment of multiple ships of same model at the same time, which is one that I've just shown you there. Option to control whether player ships wait for players under certain circumstances. So it used to be whereas if you were in a ship doing something and then you told that ship to do something afterwards, it would sit there and wait for you to tell it to do it. Now you can set it where under certain circumstances it will wait for you to tell it to proceed with the orders. Otherwise it will just proceed with the orders, which is good. Makes things a little bit easier. There aren't new voices in as well for the Dukes, Buccaneers and the Realm of the Trinity faction. New default behavior, local auto trade. So now I should be able to show it from here. I can do. So we used to have behavior here. Current role as a miner. It's probably not going to be. I can't do it here because you've got an actual assignment. Are you assigned? You're assigned. Let's find something that's not assigned. I know what I can do. Let's find one of you here. Crane here. So your default behavior you used to have advanced auto trade, fill shortages, which is another thing I'll discuss in a second. Find build tasks, revisit known stations and supply fleet. They've now added local auto trade, which, if you remember, in the earlier days used to have auto trade, which basically was really low level, and you could basically start doing trading. They've now replaced that with they've now brought it back in with a thing called local auto trade, which is basically a similar thing, but it means it stays in one sector. So if you've got a couple of stations in the same sector that require trading, it will do it under local auto trade. It'll also allow you to level up your ships a lot easier as well, being able to unlock the advanced auto trade, which then does basically most of the map, depending on how well your ship is, its star rating is. I mentioned there the fill shortages. Fill shortages is now what used to be distribute wares. So now instead of just distributing random wares, it will fill shortages on stations. Makes it a little bit easier to understand, because when you call and distribute wares, it could have meant anything. Now it's saying that it will fill the shortages on stations, which means that it won't necessarily make profit. There are certain other things they've also added into the game, things like retrieve from internal storage options for storage ships. So now when you have stored ships on actual ships or in stations and stuff like that, there are more options on that. Mouse steering HUD indicator. So when you start doing mouse steering, you get a HUD indicator. Would you like to see that? Let us have a look at that. Ship here, let's go. Teleport 2.
Falcon, Sentinel.
So now, when you do mouse steering, when it lets me do mouse steering, not let me do any mouse control.
Hokkaido, gas.
Okay. Autopilot activated.
Autopilot, disengaged.
That might be why. There we go. Ooh. But now we can actually see where we're at. So you can see the circular section now. That never used to be on there. That's pretty cool. I didn't even notice the autopilot was on. You'll also notice as well, while we're in, that the flights of the ships are a lot smoother now. This used to be a little bit clunky. A lot smoother now, including the weapon systems as well. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, so now you can actually see where you're aiming your mouse, so you can see where you're traveling. Same on board here as well. You can always see where you're looking. Flip it all the way around if you want, but you can always see where your mouse is pointing, and it'll keep going. It's relating to where it is on your screen. Just that little improvement just makes things a little bit easier. Well, while we're actually here, you also notice that all of our icons are now underneath here as well, and the radar looks a little bit better as well. It's in a bit more of a square shape, but you can see there, just a lot clearer. So yeah, so that's the improvements on the mouse steering. Various other things that they've added to it. Trade offers, mining, and other filters. Natural filters have been added to it, which makes things a hell of a lot easier. Legends, they've also added legends as well for, I believe it's for the trade offers. Yep, trade offer icons in the map legend. I think it's the... You got all these are added to it as well now. There it is. Trade offers: illegal trade, station construction trades, supply trades, and trade volume. Trade volume is when you turn on the trade thing. That's trade volume there. These little hexagons. Just things that makes it a little bit easier, which is what we want. Text to explain status icons and logical station overview. What does that mean? Well. Modules without resources. 1. That kind of tells you what's going on. Module without resources. Producing. Tells you straight off the bat, not enough resources for production. Makes things a little bit tidier, as I say. There are various other things that have been changed and adjusted. The things that are probably not really noteworthy. There are a couple that I will note is that the illegal words has now been changed to colour, so it's a little bit clearer to see. I actually think I'm carrying illegal words, so I can show you that. Inventory. Yep, there you go. They're now in red, so you can see illegal words straight away. Makes it a little bit handier, a bit clearer to see. There are things that they've really gone into making it a little easier to understand, which is what the game needed. Certain things like if your game becomes modified whilst you're playing it, then it will warn you rather than crashing on you or making you quit out or whatever it is that it used to do. It now warns you, which is useful.
I've got you now.
So overall, the fixes, as I said, there are a lot of fixes in the game that I'm not going to go through. If you would like to have a look at what all of the changes are, then obviously make sure you check out the forum with the link in the description, and that'll give you everything. But I wanted to just cover a few of them just in a little bit more detail. The final cherry on top for everybody is the improvements to mining. For those of you who was here through the 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0 changes, you will notice that the mining was notoriously harder in 4.0. The sectors became specific for what you could mine them for. The resources were a lot harder to find, but obviously the miners also struggled to mine. Now they've improved on how the miners work, and I will tell you that it is a million times better. I have seen major differences between the two patches, so much so that I'm probably going to remain on the beta until it becomes a stable. That's how much it's changed, so bear that in mind when you come to the 5.0. If you're like me and you've got about 1,000 miners trying to do one station, and it was struggling, you'll find that you'll soon be full in that station. Good news for us, but obviously a lot of ships are going to be hanging around outside your station trying to unload. So as I say, there are a lot of other things that they've changed and I'm not going to go into, but make sure you do check it out. Make sure that if you have given it a bit of a break, that you do check out the 5.0. It's worth looking at, even for the new ship designs and for the changes they've made. The final thing that I will go through before we disappear off this episode is the scrap metal. I have made a scrap metal station, which is here, scrap processing. So this is a new system they've brought in. So you get a scrap processor and a scrap recycler. You get a tug, which I will show. Where's my Manticore tug? I can't. So I will zip to. I believe the Argon have a version, and this is the Taladi version.
Second contact.
So this is the new tug. It's a medium ship, and it does look pretty awesome. Got a lot of bloody engines. Got 5 engines, I think. Yeah. So it's a little noisy, but they do look pretty awesome. So they'll go about, they'll find ships that are abandoned, they'll tug them along, and they will bring them to, let me jump back into my station. There we go. They will bring them to the scrap metal,
exchange.
which then turns into Claytronics and hull parts. If you're like me and you're Terran, if you want to build Paranid ships, sorry, not Paranid, any other ships other than Terran, you're going to need hull parts and Claytronics. Mainly hull parts, which is why I was struggling to build the cranes. Then this is really useful. And you can also sell it for credits as well if you are friendly with a lot more of the factions. So a brilliant addition to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it can do. But as I said, that's going to be it for this episode. I just wanted to go for a little bit more detail on the coverage on 5.0. If there are any major changes over on the station going over the top of me, you don't get that in your personal office. Nice and quiet in the personal office. Other than having the combat music. There we go. Oh. Well, that's tiny. I think that needs to be a little bit bigger somehow. We can fix that by getting up. Oh, it's tiny. There we go, it's bigger. Okay, so as I say, if you'd like any more information or me to go into any more detail about any of the new additions and stuff like that, then make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Hopefully you'll find some of the things that I haven't discussed are worth looking at, like the new special NPCs. Definitely worth a check out. It's kind of cool little layout as well. It's worth looking at. But yeah, 5.0 so far, it's looking really good, and if there are any major changes coming up, I'll make sure I cover it in any follow-up videos. But until next time, everybody, take care for now, and I shall see you all on the next one. Bye bye for now.